What's up, everybody? This is Jose with Oakland Latinos United. I'm doing my live on my phone because my computer just makes a lot of noise now. So I don't know. I tried to shut the noise down. It does that weird noise that it's been doing. So I'm just gonna do it on my phone for right now until either I buy a new laptop or hopefully get this one fixed. So Frazier. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Live with Jay, number 126. Got a few things I want to talk about. We lost a war criminal today. We'll talk about that. Jose Earl Jones. Got new glasses. Bifocals. God, that's how you know I'm getting old. I'm becoming an old man. I need bifocals now. Yes, I am viejito. See, look, I got the golden glasses. I still got my old ones. I just got them updated to my new prescription, so I can get new prescription glasses. Unfortunately, I inherited bad sight from my dad. My sister wears glasses too. My dad wore glasses, so you know what I mean. Yeah, these are the new ones. They're bifocals. Look. But yeah, these have the golden. I used to have some like these. These have the golden frame. The other one are a black frame. These have a little bit more bling to them. I know, bifocal. I'm legitimately an old man now. But yeah, I'm not doing my live on my phone because on my laptop because it keeps making that loud noise, and I don't, I might just need to buy me a new um, laptop, and it's a good laptop. You feel me? But it's still good. Everything else works on it. It's just making that weird noise, and it doesn't go away. And it's hard to make lives on it because you can't hear me. I was listening to my last live I did, and I could barely hear myself. Like, I didn't realize the noise was so loud. But yeah, so I'm doing it on my phone for now until maybe I buy a laptop, a new laptop, or maybe get this one fixed. But it's an old one already, so it ain't worth it. But it works. Too much Pornhub. The Geppettos. What's up, Shorty B? But yeah, man, winter's coming. I can kind of feel it today. It was pretty cold. What's up, bipolar? It was kind of cold today. I'm pretty sure winter's coming. It's already November. They changed the hour. You already know once they start doing that, it starts getting colder and colder, less hot days. From a naughty place. Nah, I don't think so. Maybe. Who knows? The Oakland Tourism Board, they say. Montgomery won. Oh yeah, Montgomery won New York. I wonder if he's mad because Dick Cheney passed away. Let me know, bipolar. Had a cool weekend, you know what I mean? Who said he wears his pants on his chest and shows his camel toe? ¿Qué ondas? But yeah, so I wanted to talk about that, about Dick Cheney passing. That's one of the main things I want to talk about. A man who simultaneously destroyed the U.S. Constitution. One of the reasons that Trump can get away with a lot of stuff he's getting away with right now is because of people like Dick Cheney. And that's facts. That's not something made up. That's not some some liberal conspiracy. That's facts, whether you want to accept it or not. So we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about how these guys, because this Dick Cheney guy, he should have been dead a long time ago. I don't know if you know his history. He has a bad heart. You know what I mean? Like but money and power. They have around the clock medical attention, so that's why they live as long. You know. But yeah, man, we'll talk about that now. So I don't know if you guys noticed. It's weird because I haven't even heard about too much about it on the news. But Dick Cheney passed away today, former vice president during the Bush administration. This was all around the time of 9/11, the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, and all the stuff that happened. You know what I mean? I'm half Mexican, half Salvadorian. MAGA is a piece of shit, just like Cheney. All of them. They're all of these, even the Democrats. They all benefited from what these motherfuckers did, and this is what I want to talk about. So, Dick Cheney was part of the neocons who took over the U.S. presidency, or took power in 2000. What was that, 2000? You know what I mean? And I got my Salvadorian flag too. Look, see? But basically they took over power in the 2000s. Bill Clinton had been president before that. He had been two-term president. Before that, it was the first George Bush, George Bush Sr. But George Bush Jr. and his crew ran for president. Dick Cheney was his vice president. But Dick Cheney is one of the ones that ran the shots as well, called the shots. He was, I think, the CEO of Halliburton. You know what I mean? Half Mexican, half Salvadorian. I had a Colombian flag. Look, I had a Mexican one. Colombian because I got a lot of love for Colombia. But anyway, Dick Cheney was basically part of the crew that created something called PNAC, Project for a New American Century. And we'll talk about that too, bipolar. We'll get to that. But Dick Cheney and all the people that were in power during the Bush administration created something because remember, they took power, in 2000, right? 2000, 2001. And before that, like in 1997, 98, they created something that was called PNAC, the Project for a New American Century. And it was basically a neocon think tank, kind of like a booklet that they wrote. And one of the things that they talked about is if they want to achieve power and overthrow Saddam Hussein and gain ground in the Middle East, the American public was not going to support it unless a Pearl Harbor-like event happens. And what a coincidence that once, and I don't want to get into conspiracies, but this is real shit. This is not conspiracy theories. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. This is how crazy and corrupted this world is. So, they said back in like 97, 98, we have to create, if we want dominance in the Middle East and we want to be able to do the things we want to do, especially overthrow Saddam Hussein and various other things, we would need, in order for the American people to back us up, we would need to have a Pearl Harbor-like event happen, meaning an event that would scare the shit out of Americans and would unite them to support their agenda. And what a coincidence that a year later, not even a year later, like half a year later, they got their Pearl Harbor-like event. It's called 9/11. If you don't know what 9/11 is, look it up. And 9/11 changed everything. It changed everything forever. And we're still suffering from the consequences of 9/11 today, even though it was 20 something years later. Because George Bush and Cheney and all his cronies at the time, because they got their second Pearl Harbor event, they created a lot of laws that overrode the Constitution. A lot of unconstitutional stuff to supposedly fight the war on terror, because we were told that a group of Al Qaeda terrorists, who most were actually, many of them were actually from Saudi Arabia, which is an ally of the U.S., we were told that they took, that they took box cutters and they took over these planes and and bombed the two buildings. And that could have been. I'm not saying they didn't do it, because I don't know. They might have did it. They might have been part of a bigger plan. You feel me? Yeah, all of them, Condoleezza Rice, Colin Powell, they were all part of this. And once 9/11 happened, it scared the American public so much that Bush and them, it was like it came on a silver platter for them. That's the weird thing about it. It could just be a real coincidence, or the conspiracy theories are true. You tell me, I don't know. But what a coincidence that Rumsfeld, Cheney, all these guys that wrote this PNAC, Project for a New American Century, got their second Pearl Harbor event on a silver motherfucking platter. And it was so perfect. Because it scared the American public so much that they were able to create the Patriot Act, warrantless wiretapping, suspension of habeas corpus, which is something that's going on right now with Trump. Violation of the Quasi-Comitatus Act, which is something that Trump is doing right now. And various other bullshit things. I mean, these fucking people are evil. You want to talk about gangsters? You really think North and Sud and Crips and Bloods are gangsters? These are real gangsters. These are gangsters with suits and educations that don't give a fuck and play with human lives at a mass scale. And they started wars in Iraq for nothing, which had nothing to do with 9/11. They invaded Afghanistan, which was supposedly, they were looking for, what's his name? What's that fool's name? Osama bin Laden. You know what I mean? And that one I could understand a little more, because supposedly he was the one that did 9/11, supposedly. Even though there's a lot of suspicion around Osama bin Laden and his connection to these people. And it is true. It's not a conspiracy theory that the bin Laden family was flown out of the U.S. by the U.S. government, by Cheney and Bush, to safety. During the time when there was no flights in the air, but they allowed the bin Laden family to leave the country? Are you kidding me? When he was supposedly the number one wanted man in the world. And this is not conspiracies. Again, you could look up Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11 and they talk about this. And it's just crazy, man. But yes, or sing by Jada Kiss and more technique, knock down the car. Yeah. And it's just, Cheney passed away today. Rumsfeld passed away also. A lot of those folks from that time are gone now. But today, Cheney died. He lived to be 84. And Cheney himself, I mean, it's a miracle he lived this long, because he had a horrible heart. He had heart disease for many years. I heard he had his first heart attack when he was 30-something. You know what I mean? And he had several heart attacks over the years. And he had all kinds of bypass surgeries and had pacemakers and all that stuff. But he managed to make it to 84, which is a miracle. Did he have a transplant of heart? That I don't remember. But I just remember he had a really bad heart. So it's actually a miracle he made it this far to 84. But, all the MAGA retardation that's going on right now, Trump basically tearing up the Constitution and doing whatever he wants, you got to remember, this was all started by Bush and Cheney. The reason Trump has the authority to do all the stuff he's doing is because of what Bush and Cheney did. And yeah, some might say, well, but that was 20 years ago. But they are the architects of it. And they use 9/11 as the excuse for it. And now, you know what I mean? You have people like Trump, and it's not to say Obama and Biden didn't benefit from it. I'm sure they did. I mean, they're all warmongers at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And you got to remember, these are the people that were the architects of what's going on right now. I don't give a shit if it was 20-something years ago, but they are the architects about what's going on right now. They are the people that said it is okay to tear up the Constitution in the name of safety and security. What was that old saying that Benjamin Franklin said? If you're willing to give up freedom for a false sense of security, you deserve none. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So Cheney passed away today, and it's weird because Cheney, in his last years, in this last election, him and his daughter supported Kamala Harris. Ain't that some shit? And Trump hasn't said really anything about his death, which surprised me. But I don't think Trump liked him anyway. Trump is not really a neocon like they were. Trump is more like an extremist right-winger. But yeah, Cheney also shot, that is true, he shot his friend in the face with a shotgun and got away with it. Supposedly it was a hunting accident. You feel me? So yeah, man, so that fool passed away today. Yeah, he endorsed Kamala. But yeah, man, put in the comments, tell me what you think. Do you know much about this story? What's your feeling about Dick Cheney and the Bush administration and what's going on now? What other BS going down? Let's say supported against Trump, but never talked about the Patriot Act. Yep. Yeah, Kamala Harris was going around with Cheney's daughter. Interesting, ain't it? It's just, politics is so weird. That's why I don't take it seriously. I just look at the dots. I try to connect the dots, and it's just weird. But yeah, all this has roots because of these fools back then. Yeah, that is true. I remember that. Trump was big time against Cheney and Bush and all them. And he used to expose them. I'll give him that. But then he sold out to the Republican Party himself. Now he supports Trump being anti-constitutional. That's why I believe in Democrats. Because none of them reversed with Bush. That's true. That is true. Obama didn't reverse any of the Bush doctrine. None of them did. Most of them used it to their advantage. Or continued warmongering. What do I think about Mexican Republicans? It depends on their mentality. Yeah, well, it's still sold out big time. I met some Mexican Republicans that were cool, but I met some that are straight sellouts, you know. Bulldogs. Doesn't really matter the party. It's your mentality, you know, because there's some Democratic Latinos too that or Mexicans that are idiots too. Trust me. But yeah, Alex Jones, he sold out for sure. But I always knew so Alex Jones was a weirdo since way back. But yeah, man, that fool passed away. Dick Cheney. I don't really like talking ill about the dead, but man, you want to talk about some evil people, bro. Trump taking down the East Wing. Also, imagine Obama or yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Like any other bullshit that Trump's doing doesn't surprise me, man. Oh yeah, the Alex Jones prank calls, they were funny. And then let's talk about the whole food stamp thing that's going on because of the government shutdown. Now, I'm not too familiar why there's a government shutdown. I've heard a lot of different things. If you guys know why it's shut down, put it in the comments. I haven't really been investigating, but there's a government shutdown. And supposedly they were going to stop food stamps until the government was back up. They were going to start funding it, stop funding it. And supposedly they said people are going crazy, people are tripping because there's not going to be food stamps and blah, blah, blah. You feel me? Oh, yeah, I remember that. But the thing about me is, like, we demonize people with food stamps because it's easy to demonize those people. And because we have, as a society, we basically have said that the majority of people that are on food stamps are black or Latino or illegal immigrants or blah, blah, blah. But in reality, the majority of people on food stamps are actually white people. The majority of them. Per capita, white people are the ones that are mostly on food stamps. And yes, many of them are in red states. But the thing that's been sold to you is that was it Ronald Reagan that said it? Somebody that it was a black lady that drove a Cadillac that lived in the projects in Harlem. You know, that's the thing that they've sold to you. You know what I mean? And when you think down on it, it's pretty cruel if you think about it because we're one of the few countries that actually helps people eat. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. There's still places in the world where kids are starving. You know what I mean? And a lot of the people, let's face it, shit's expensive right now. We don't live in times where things are cheap. So yeah, that little bit of food stamps does help in some ways for some people. You know what I mean? Go to the grocery store right now and try buying some groceries, see how much it costs. You know what I mean? A lot of Mexican Americans are on food stamps, but that's a stupid way of thinking too. Because yeah, I get asking for a handout, but at the same time, I'm not gonna bust my ass. I'm not gonna bust my ass and not be able to afford to live, man. You know what I mean? That's a fucked up way to live. That's not a way to live. You know what I mean? But besides that, why aren't we mad at corporations asking for handout? Why aren't the Mexicans that work hard mad at that? Julio Solorio. Why aren't we mad at us giving money to Argentina to fix their economy? I thought Trump was supposed to be America first, right? Why is it we never get mad when we're supporting Ukraine or Israel, where we're supporting billionaires, giving them handouts? But we cry when our own American people, supposedly that we care about, are asking for a little bit of food stamp because shit is expensive right now. And I get it. There are people out there, yes, who abuse the system. I'm not saying that there aren't people that that abuse the system. There are. I'm not saying they don't exist. There's plenty of people of all races that abuse the system. You know what I mean? But there's many corporations and war companies and war contractors and other countries that abuse the system too and take our American dollars that we could be using here. We don't get mad at that. We get mad at a black person or a poor white person in the trailer park or a Latino who's struggling to get food stamps to feed his kids, even if they work hella hard. But when some punk motherfucker from some corporation that has billions and billions of fucking dollars gets a fucking handout from your tax dollars, you don't have an issue with that. You feel me? And that's the issue, and that's the problem with a lot of us. That we're quick to point the finger at the easy people to point the finger at, but when it comes to the bigger picture, nobody's willing to point that finger. Nobody's willing to go that route. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if that's what we're going to do, cut people's food stamps and have people struggle more than they already struggling now, expensive rents, expensive mortgages, expensive fucking payments, expensive bills. You know, what happened with Trump bringing down inflation? What happened with Trump making eggs affordable and all this bullshit that they've sold us? You feel me? That a lot of these dumb motherfuckers voted for, which I already knew wasn't going to happen. You know? Other countries could have health care, but we can't. You know? And that's another thing. They're trying to start a war with Venezuela and Colombia now. That's the new thing. Yet we want to cry... we want to cry about immigrants, but yet we want to attack countries. The people of those countries are eventually going to come here as immigrants anyway. You know what I mean? If you don't like my flag, get the fuck off my fucking channel, you square. Get this clown. Get him the fuck out of here. Fuck him and his beliefs. If you don't like my flag, bye-bye to you, you fucking square. But yeah, man, that's one of them. That's one of those people that support bullshit but wants to blame other people. That's a perfect example. You feel me? Yeah, I mean, this country always screws up the working class or the middle class. That's just how it is. That's why people need to wake up, man. But yeah, man. But anyway, I don't get these people. They don't like my flag. They don't like anything. Don't come on my channel. Go to Nick Fuentes' channel, I guess. And he's half Mexican. Probably a closeted gay too. Nick, little Nicky. But yeah, man, it's just crazy, you know. It's crazy how we blame the poor for being poor, you know, but we make it hard for people to get out of poverty. And then we cry when people do get out of poverty. Make it make sense, man. Yeah, I know, he's an incel. He never had a girlfriend. He doesn't know what punani feels like. I think he even said that having sex was gross. I think he said that. I think that goof from Fresh and Fit said something like that too. That having sex with women was gay and nasty or something. I was like, what the hell? These are the youngsters' heroes, man. This is who they're listening to, unfortunately. Oh yeah, I remember that. I agree, Fraser. They blame it on trans people, on black people, on brown people, on on immigrants, on this, that. They don't blame it on their own fucking policies, their own foreign policies, their own bullshit. You know, it's all warm and wet. They'll never know that, I guess. They're incels, so you know. Fuentes supposedly says that he he hasn't had sex because he wants to marry a girl before he has sex. I guess that's his thing. Making MAGA have mom dom. Oh, the mom dom. Oh yeah, he won the election out there, right in New York. That's hella funny. Yeah, the right wingers hated him for sure. The Trumpers and all that. I don't know too much about his politics. I know that he's supposedly he's a he's African, ain't he? Like he was born in Africa. I think he's like Indian descent, but he's like Muslim, I think too. I could be wrong, but I think he was born in Uganda because Uganda used to have a lot of Indians back in the days. Yeah, man. What base? Casablanca. That's in Morocco, ain't it? I don't think he's from Morocco. I think he's from, or maybe he might be from New York. I think he was born in another country though. I don't think he was born here. I think he's a naturalized citizen. Tunisia? Nah, he was born in like East Africa. Look him up. I can't look up because I got my computer off, so I can't look it up where he was born. But I want to say Uganda or somewhere in East Africa, like Uganda or Kenya or one of those countries. Tunisia, that's North Africa, ain't it? That's going towards the Mediterranean, closer to Spain and all that. He's doing a lot of good things. I hear French are crying. Probably. The French, they colonized a huge chunk of Africa. A lot of people don't know that. That's why there's a lot of Africans in France. Little bears. But yeah, man, talk. He's Elon's cousin. Where's Elon from? He's from South Africa, right? If I remember right. He's an Afrikaner. If you guys know what that is. But yeah, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. Well, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about politics. You know what I mean? Just want to let you guys know that Cheney passed away. You know what I mean? And he has a very suspect history. You know. Oh, really? I might have heard something like that. Look, I got a pimp cane. I was using this cane the other day. My leg was messed up. I couldn't walk for a few days. I don't know if I told you guys that. Did I see Claudia Scheinbaum got felt up? I think I did. She did, huh? I think I did. I think I seen it. I think I was kind of busy though. I think someone did send me a link to it. And then I heard some mayor of a town in in um in Michoacan, I think in Uruapan, got killed by the cartel supposedly. A lot of people are angry about that. Pretty crazy. Drunk dude on the street. I like my pimp cane. I was using this cane the other day because my leg was messed up, bro. What a pimp cane. Yeah, I mean, Chacan's a mess, bro. Something needs to be done. They probably have to send the military there or something. My leg got messed up. I couldn't walk right the other day. I didn't tell you guys that. That's why I didn't do it live last weekend because I was in pain. So I had to use the baston to walk around for a few days. I need Jeebus. No, I had a inflammation in my leg, um, in my hip, bro, and it was in pain, bro. And but they said it was not serious. They said it was kind of like something to do with arthritis. So they told me to do a lot of exercise and walk a lot. So that's kind of what I've been doing. They gave me ibuprofen. They just said it had something to do with older age and weight. And no, it wasn't gout. It was bursitis, I think it was called. It's painful, bro. I couldn't even walk there right. Tijuana, my mom grew up there. Yeah, it is a pretty chill place. That too. They said that music, being a musician, could also cause it. What's up, Joe Mama? So luckily I had this old cane. I was able to walk around with it for a few days. I looked like pimpish. But yeah, it freaking hurt, bro. Oh, it hurt. It hurt badly. Daddy, buy a cane. Somebody gave me this cane a long time ago, and I just had it. And look, I was able to use it. Use your hips too much when you play. They said it was because of standing in position for a long time. Little pimping. Pimp J. Can you use it for self? Yeah, you probably can. I mean, you got this metal thing. If you hit someone over the head with it, you probably fuck them up. What's up, Jose? What's up, Bud Rios? So yeah, you can use it for self-defense. It's kind of sturdy too. It's not a weak cane. You might break it over someone's head. I mean, look at that thing. That thing's hard. You hit someone on the head hard there, that's gonna do some damage. It's not a pain with a sword in it, or a knife in it. The top does come off. Look. Oh shit. You see? Nah. Play. Warriors come on now to play. Yay. I seen that many years ago. Jose E40 water, and I've been told that I look like the Mexican E40. Thank my dad for that one. He's the one that wore glasses, and unfortunately, I got inherited bad eyesight. My sister has bad eyesight too. So far, my nephews don't have a bad eyesight yet. No more dyeing your hair. I shave my hair. It'll grow back. I'll probably dye it when it grows back. By the time it grows back, it's gonna be colder anyway. We're going into winter. It was kind of cold today. What'd you think, Shortcuts? Kind of chilly outside. Oh, I woke up early. I was like, damn, it's cold. Sonny Boy Jr. Hell nah. I know it is cold. I was out earlier. I went to Walmart. I had to buy a few things. It was hella cold outside. Very bad. Rogue spikes. Protein production cannot be stopped. Do the blind match the carpets? Which ones? Yeah, man, but the other day I was like in pain, like really bad. So what's up? What's up with all the drama on the YouTube yard? What's going on the YouTube yard? Put it in the comments. Let's talk about it. I mean, we all know that Josh passed away. I heard there was some other drama out there. Put it in the comments and I'll see what I might know about it. Josh, Big Jim's son got killed. Oh yeah, I think I heard something about that. In LA, right? Oh yeah, I heard something about Chicano YouTuber is now AC Glazer after trying to show her you. Yeah. Chicano too. That dude's like that, bro. He's weird. I remember he used to talk hella shit about American Cholo. He used to call him Alvin. And now he's like American Cholo, this and that. And he was cool with that dude Norby's, and I think now he's talking shit about Norby's. So that dude, yeah, and he's a Trumper too. He's a JK. I don't know. I don't really watch that dude. I didn't even watch him when he was in Salinas Report. Not my cup of tea. Oh yeah, what they say? They were saying the Dubs and Runner or Gunner. The Dubs and Gunner were saying that they talked to Josh the night before he died or something like that. And supposedly it wasn't true. I don't know. That's what I heard. I have no clue. I did hear something about that, and supposedly Gunner. I heard another one that Gunner was being racist against that dude L or APA, A Prisoner's Awakening's wife. His wife is black, I think. And his kids are black. I know that Gunner and that dude had like some kind of beef. I don't know where it originated from, but yeah, I know there was like a video going around a while back where they got into an argument. It's just all nonsense. Just cracks. Murieta. Just YouTube drama. That's why I just stay. Where's GC? I don't really follow Runner Does, but they always screw up taking L's. Why are they the most hated YouTubers? Talk more about sex sucks. I never said sex sucks. I got a little family in Sacramento. I just said I didn't like it when I lived there. It wasn't my cup of tea. But you gotta remember, Sacramento today is a completely different world than Sacramento when I lived there. Renegade? Really? I've never really watched his channel, really. I know who he is, but I've never really... I've heard so much anti-sax stuff. From who? From people? I mean, a lot of people from the Bay do talk shit about sax, but then a lot of times they end up moving out there. And then they start talking hella shit about sax, and it's like, then why'd you move up there? I moved up there without knowing nothing about Sacramento. This is pre-internet era. This is pre-even Sacramento rap era. I didn't even know they had rappers in Sacramento. And when I went there, it was just a different world. I wasn't used to it. You know? And I didn't like it. And I came back to the Bay. And that was it. Yeah, you could say that. Sacramento. I would say Sacramento. What would you think? What would you think Sacramento is? The Inland Empire, or is it the San Fernando Valley of the Bay? I would say Inland Empire is more like Stockton, Modesto. That would be more like the Inland Empire. What's up, Richie? Because Sac is nice. Not all of it is ghetto or run down. There are certain parts of it, like some parts of the south and the north, but a lot of Sacramento is pretty nice. You know, cartoon character. But yeah, man. Stockton's fuzzy to me. I'm from there. Are so many people from the East Bay and some from Vallejo. So what they regular 9 to 5 in Sacramento. Can you still? Because hella people are telling me it's super expensive there too now. When I moved back to the Bay, you were still able to buy a house out here with a 9 to 5. Hey, I didn't know Gusano was a term. Gusano is more of a term that originated for Cubans, for like Cubans who had defected from uh, from Castro, mainly people that went to Miami. There were also the Marielitos too. Nowhere came by. Pat did our job. Stockton is hood though. Stockton's been hood. I could remember going to Stockton in 88, 89. That shit was hood already even then. I remember clearly going around El Dorado and Charter Way and around that area when I was hella little because I had an uncle who lived briefly in Stockton. Yeah, that's mainly a term for Cubans, gusanos, for like right wing Cubans. Then you had the Marielitos. Stockton's bigger than people realize. Yeah, it's a pretty good size. I would say Stockton's about the size of Richmond, probably, if I were to give it a size. I don't think it's as big as Oakland. I think it's smaller than Oakland, but it's probably about the size of Richmond and probably San Pablo put together. Said, okay, that just means piece of shit. That's all it means. It's turd. It's a Salvadorian slang. Oakland's not even really that big, to be honest with you, if you think about it. But it's just a good size. What makes Oakland big is more the east side. The west and the north are kind of small, if you really think about it. The east side and the hills is kind of what makes it big, but if you really look at the north side and the east side, they're pretty small. I mean, the west side, they're pretty small, actually. Downtown's not that big either. Yeah, I was going to talk about that, actually, shortcuts. Hood blogs? Nah, I haven't seen them. Hey, Jose, you ever... El Salvador? I mean, they say it's a lot safer now than it used to be. I'm thinking about going. We're a mile smaller. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. If you move to Sac and you're from the Bay and you're talking shit about Sac, then what are you doing there? Or in Stockton, what are you doing there then? Then go back to the Bay. I'm kind of in that field because I didn't like living in Sac and I moved back to the Bay. Hey, what's up, Mr. Gore? Been a long time. How you been, bro? They could move to the outskirts of the Bay. You still find some affordable spots. Bolivia and take a bus to Peru to Arequipa. I heard about Arequipa before. Bolivia. I met a few Bolivians before. Met a lot of Peruvians though. What about Murrieta? What about in Stockton? Is there Salvadorians out there? I know, Rich. Yeah, I've been good, bro. Just working and staying busy, brother. How you been? Some cuy. Oh yeah, the guinea pig. I never tried it. Yeah, but there was. They said that there was a raid of Sureños in Oakland, supposedly. I didn't even know they had Sureños in Oakland anymore. To be honest with you, I don't know what be going out there no more. But supposedly they were like a Guatemalan Sureño gang. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, I remember when there was a lot of Sureños Officer Villa. I remember when there was a lot of Sureños in Oakland, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, the SSLs. But I don't really know. Supposedly they said that these dudes were like from something called SSL 502 or something. They were like Guatemalan Sureños, supposedly. If it weren't for tech gentrification, I would have moved to some country 20 years ago. Yeah, man. Yeah, tech definitely screwed over the working class for sure. Shit, with the Trump administration, them fools are all going to be back in Central America pretty soon. There used to be people who could thrive and fit on the Bay. I mean, I still remember when the Bay, there were plenty of places where you could have a 9 to 5 and live comfortably, bro. Even still, when I was like in my 20s, it was still like that in a lot of the Bay Area. I knew a lot of people that had their own apartments, their own houses. You feel me? Busting. Hopefully. I mean, this house here, we got it when it was cheap. Before any of the tech stuff happened. You know? I heard LA is also, Southern California, Los Angeles is also really expensive now. And it's getting harder and harder for people to live out there. And I'm like hearing a lot of stories about that. I'm not from out there, so, you know, I don't know. I read landlords and that stuff used to be hella cool, and most times you wouldn't pay asking price. Maybe, I'm not too sure. I never lived in the city, bro, so I'm not sure. In Oakland, we had a few cool landlords. I remember when I was a kid. But I remember in Oakland, nobody wanted to live there, bro. So, like, you could get a house for dirt cheap when I was a kid. Because nobody wanted to live there. Everyone was scared of Oakland, bro. The only people crazy enough to live in Oakland were black people or brown people or Asians, like Cambodians and Vietnamese. You know, like white people didn't want to live in Oakland back then. And if there were white people in Oakland, they were the landlords. That's it. Like the crazy parts. I feel it. But yeah, I remember like most people did not want to live in Oakland when I was a kid. So hence, property was a lot cheaper. It was easier to buy a house there. Oakland lost an in and out. Told me back in, it said Stockton was called Oakland East. You know, one time somebody told me that that's how San Jose was. I don't know how true that is, but I remember an older dude told me that like a lot of people didn't want to live in San Jose because there was a lot of gangs and stuff back in the days. Like back in like the 70s and 80s. But for sure, Oakland, Richmond, you know, I don't know too much about the history of Stockton. Like I said, I do remember going there because I had this crazy uncle. I had an uncle who was kind of weird. He was kind of reclusive. He was like one of those dudes that kind of like did his own thing and wasn't really around family. And he would live in random places. And for a while, he was living in Stockton. And I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, and I remember where he lived in Stockton like late 80s, early 90s. I remember going out there to visit him, and it was pretty hood looking even back then. I remember Charter Way. Was there a store on Charter Way called Central Mart, Murieta? I think I remember it. Punjabs, yeah, I heard about that. I heard it in Yuba City. There's like a group of Punjabis who are half Mexican. Because like back in the days, the Punjabis weren't able to bring women, so they would marry Mexican ladies because they weren't allowed to marry white ladies. If you don't believe me, look it up. Look up the Punjabi Mexicans. Yeah, I remember going with my uncle to that Central Mart. It was right there on Charter Way, I remember. Yeah, look it up, bro. Half Mexican, half Punjabi from Yuba City. You'll find all kinds of... There's hella shit on YouTube about it and on Google. I found it hard to believe, too, because it's rare to see Indians get together with Mexicans now, but apparently back then it was a thing. But I'm talking about 100 years ago or more. This is back when racism and segregation was in full effect. Chinese Indians, the Chinese Indians, other than Mexicans, Indians, they've been taking over the Bay Area. Exactly, Murieta. So what it was a lot of the Punjabis, they worked the fields, they were country, and a lot of them went to the Inland Empire too. They went to a lot of places where there were Mexicans. They went to the Inland Empire. They went to Yuba City, to different, probably the Central Valley, and they weren't allowed to bring their women back then. So a lot of them got together with Mexican ladies, mainly because they weren't allowed to marry white women. What's happening? You guys don't believe me? Look it up. Look up the Punjabi Mexicans. You'll find all kinds of shit about it, bro. There's not very many of them left anymore, but 7-Elevens probably didn't even exist back then. I heard Stockton used to be the main Filipino town before Daly City. Murieta, I don't know if you ever heard that. There used to be a little Manila in Stockton back in the days. It had one of the largest Filipino population. I think there's still a lot of Filipinos in Stockton, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but I heard way before, like Daly City, I heard that majority of Filipinos used to go to Stockton way back in the days. People forget Filipinos used to work the fields back in the days. So there's India. Are there Indians in Stockton? Filipino Plaza. Yeah, I believe it. I know Sacramento has a lot of Indians. The Filipinos, they got Pinoy. They came in with their slang term. Pinoy is just like a way of saying they're Filipinos. Filipinos work at the post office. They work at Walmart. they basically own Walmart. If you go to Vallejo, you go to that Burger King off of Mariposa. It's all Filipinos there. I guess it would be Filipinos because they were ran by the Spaniards. Gooch should marry. Oh yeah, they run the they're either nurses or they work at the at Walmart or they work at the post office or that Burger King on Mariposa in Vallejo. And if you're from Vallejo and you've been to that Burger King, you know what I'm talking about. They played the Philippines where they spoke Spanish. Oh yeah, I think it's called Cebuano or something like that. Is it Cebuano or Ilocano? One of those. What's wrong with Filipinos, Raider? Goddamn, you must not like females, Raider. Because every time we mention females, you're like, I don't want those. I don't like those. I don't like Latinas. I don't like black girls. I don't like Asian girls. I don't think you like women, bro. What do you want, men? Sit around the corner from being all Puerto Rican of 25 years. I guess I'm cut from a different cloth because I don't be giving a fuck. Filipino, negrita, Latina, white girl. Dame las todas. I don't give a fuck. Shit, like I said, my ex-girlfriend for 10 years was Indian. I never thought I would date an Indian girl. So I guess I was one of those half Punjabi, half Mexicans. Trans. The other day I seen this Salvadorian girl. She was cute. Oh, shorty. She was hella cute. She was a DoorDasher. She was cute. I was talking to her for a minute. No more EBT. We got EBT for corporations, but not for poor people, I guess. I know I should have, but it was kind of a messy situation. We were like it was on Halloween, and we went to this restaurant, and it was fucking packed, and they were like taking hella long to give us our orders. And then we were talking for a minute, but then I had to call DoorDash to have them cancel the order because it was taking way too long. But I was kind of like, damn, I wish I could have kept talking to her. I would have liked to have gotten her number. I do remember she told me she lived in Concord. Actually, yes, Morietta. I was rooting for the Kings. I'm not sure, bro. I'm assuming he died of cancer. I mean, he did say, I think he had colon cancer in the past. If I remember, he mentioned it. Lakers own the Kings. Yeah, I do remember that. That's back when what? Vlade Divac and Peja Stojakovic and Mike Bibby and all them used to play. Chris Webber. Yeah, I believe that's what he passed away from too, Frazier. TVK. That's weird because damn, that's a trip, bro. You know, Morietta, that's weird you brought that up. That's really weird you brought that up. Because I remember when the Kings played the Lakers, I was working at Walmart then. And I went to Walmart today, and one of the workers that worked there still works there to this day. We were talking today. Una Latina, I know. It's a trip. Not a trip you brought that up, because I remember that was that same year that I worked there. That was a long time ago, man. EBK, I haven't seen him in like. Does he still make videos? That one fool from Stockton's back. What's his name? Mudville Media or whatever. I heard he's doing videos again. But yeah, man. But yeah, fellas, I'm sorry I didn't come on last week. I had pain, bro. I was in pain last week. Like really bad pain. Excruciating pain. Fat and saucy. I remember that for weirdo. Fat and sloppy. Wasn't that dude from... Yeah, I'm playing this weekend. Yeah, wasn't that dude from San Jose? Runner went quick to put out a video on Josh with false info. Yeah, I heard about that. Damn, there's ex-co-workers you work with at Walmart been there. Yeah, she's been there 20 years, bro. Like, damn. I was like, shit, you lasted because I only lasted a year there. She's a cool lady too. I was cool with her even then. I'm still cool with her now. When I go in there, I talk to her all the time. Tres? Who's Tres? I can't remember. Refresh my memory. I'm a little... Nah, she's older than me. Other people come and go. And they get the white, the yada. At Wally Mart. Wally World. You know, it was a cool job, but the thing with me when I worked at Wally World, and I was a victim of like some messed up stuff, and I don't like to play the victim card, but I had an easy job. I wasn't a person who put stuff on the shelves. I wasn't a janitor. I wasn't an unloader. My thing was to build stuff and to set up displays and build bikes for the bike area. It was called assembly job. So I was just an assembler. I would go around and fix shit, put stuff together, put bikes up in the bike rack. Easy job. Easy. Half the time there wasn't even much to do, bro. And when my main manager was there, it was cool. But a lot of times he wasn't there. And the managers there were just assholes, haters, bro. Like, they would just, like, abuse me, bro. Like, they would try to get me to do jobs that had nothing to do with me. I didn't work in that department. I wasn't trained for the things that they wanted me to do, and I got into it with a lot of them because I would be like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not my job. That's not my job description. She has worked at Jaguar since '94 and still works there. She's a manager. You know what, Raider Rich? There's a Taco Bell near my house, and there's a lady that's been working there at least, at least a good 20, 21 years or more. And I remember she was young, and I didn't know she still worked there. I went to buy some the other day, and she was still there. I said, "Damn, you're still here." And she looked older now. I was like, "Damn, I remember when you were young." In my head, I was thinking that it was abuse, bro, because they were just assholes. They were just on me for nothing, bro. I'd be doing my job, and they would try to come get me and do other shit. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then when I wouldn't do it, they would try to write me up or get me in trouble. It was fucked up, bro. That's the reason I quit. I said I can't deal with this shit no more. Dave, I think he's still around. The casting couch. This was before the Filipino takeover of Walmart. Because if I remember right, that Walmart was pretty mixed. There was a little bit of everything there. Black people worked there, Latinos worked there, whites worked there, Asians. Now when you go to Walmart, it's like Filipino Central. It's like going to the post office. San Jose Saturday. Oh yeah, Chino. He quit partying. I mean, he's getting older. He can't abuse your body too much. I worked at Pizza Hut. I was there in 95. He's been there since 96. And he's a pizza delivery driver. That's crazy. Yeah, I've met people like that. Like that lady that works at Walmart, she's been there about 20 something years. That lady that works at Taco Bell, she's been there about 20 something years. I've seen other people that work, I've also been to like grocery stores or or clothing stores, and there's people that've been there for years. There's a girl that works at a pizza place near my house, and she's been there about 10 years. I went to buy a pizza there the other day. I didn't even know she worked there, and she's still. I'm like, damn, you're still here. At 9 to 5, I know it sucks having a 9 to 5. Trust me. I like working for myself. It's just harder. Right now, I'm kind of working for myself a little bit, but it's harder to make money. Little Fast Ass Dave. Where is Fast Ass Dave? Had any job? Me either, bro. Going back. I'm thinking about maybe going back to school online. I should. I mean, I'm smart. I'm not an idiot. I get a lot of 9 to 5 jobs, bro. The problem with me, and I don't know if it's just me. Sometimes I wonder if it's just me or if it's the companies I work for, but a lot of jobs, like, they start out cool, I'm making money, I'm working, and then after a while they start cutting my hours, cutting my pay, being assholes to me, giving me less work, and it's like, what the fuck? That has happened to me so many times, and I never understand why. Is it me? Is it the company? What is it? You know what I mean? I've tried to figure it out for it won't happen again, but that's happened to me a lot. A lot. And I don't know. You guys tell me if you guys experience the same thing. Like, I'll start a job, I work 8 hours, I work good money, overtime, all kinds of different things. And then all of a sudden they just start cutting my hours. And then they start being assholes to me and writing me up for no reason and doing weird shit, bro. Basically trying to push me out of the company. And that's happened to me a lot. Which is the reason why I kind of stayed doing DoorDash and doing music for a while, because I just didn't want to go back to that. You know? That's true, Joe Mama. When I was in the union, it was cool. They never did shit like that to me. The only reason I left that union job was because that company moved to another state because he was Samoan. But yeah, when I was at a union job, bro, they had my back. They had my back, bro. They didn't do that shit to me. Cut my hours and stuff like that. It was cool, but, you know. So yeah, fellas, get your winter clothes ready, cause that winter's about to hit. I already feel the cold outside. Man can come in and change shit. There's no reason to change shit. Yeah, I've experienced that too, Raider Rich. I've had that happen too, where I work for a company, everything's cool, and a new manager comes and he just fucks everything up. They did ungodly things. I swear to God, bro, I sued a company once because they made me work for a month without paying me, bro. I swear to God, that was when I was younger and stupider, bro, but that happened to me one time. I didn't sue them, but uh, I went to the what do you call that, legal aid or whatever, and they helped me get that money. No, legal aid, the thing, what do you call that? Labor Commission or something like that. Something. It's kind of like a legal aid, but for workers. Yeah, a month with no pay, bro. I swear to God, Labor Board, exactly. Nah, not OSHA. It was Labor Board. It was a dumbass visor. Without pay, bro. I worked for a month with no money. Once I went to the labor board, they gave me all that money quickly and more. They gave me a settlement to not sue. So I had money for a minute. Wish I would have saved more. What was I was doing? It was office work. I have a office worker's background. For many years, I did labor, and then I stopped doing labor, and I started doing office work, like clerical work, computer work, um, stuff like that. I'm good at that kind of jobs. I was in a federal workers union. I used to work for the federal government. And no, I wasn't in the FBI or nothing like that. I worked for I was a janitor, believe it or not, for the Oakland Army base. Hey, fool, Julio, I ain't gonna lie, that job was around the corner from the Glade, bro. Swear to God, I ain't even lying. I swear to God, bro, I'm not even making that up. I had many meetings with OSHA. I didn't like it, but you learn a lot from shit. Freddie Murphy. But I swear to God, that job, the one that didn't pay me for a month, was right down the street from the Blade, bro. I remember sometimes, whatever, custodian, janitor, you know what I'm talking about. It was at the old Oakland Army base, and those of you who are old enough to remember when the Oakland Army base used to be on Maritime, way out there towards West Oakland. That's good. On the Blade. Nah, that was about 10 years ago when that happened. And I said, yeah, it was 10 years ago because that was like 2015, 16, somewhere around there. The whole 2000s, between 2010 until COVID, I did mostly clerical work. In the 2000s, I did more labor work. I got tired of doing labor work. That's when I went to school, got a couple of little certifications, and I was able to put that in my resume. And I got jobs that paid a little bit more with less work. I just sat around and was on a computer all fucking day, but it was easy. It was easy money. Maybe that's why I got fluffier. Because when I was working labor, I wasn't fat at all. That's when I think I told you guys a story. When I used to work clerical, I didn't have money. I couldn't afford to buy work clothes, like clothes to for office work. So a homie of mine, a good friend of mine, he showed me how to shop at Goodwill and at the Segundas. Um, and I would go and buy fucking expensive ass brands like the Segunda. I'd go to work looking like a baller. I'd be wearing like Tommy Hill and Calvin Klein and all those expensive brands. Tell myself to make. Yeah, I'm trying to teach myself that right now, Julio, as we speak. It's hard though. I'm trying to see where I go with this music thing. I'm trying to see how deeper I can get to it. If I can get to a point where I'll make my own money, but I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do if I decide to go that route. Yeah. I mean, I'm partially living off music, partially. Well, right now, I don't know, Paul Hawk. I'm just shaved. I'm completely bald. My hair is gray and there's still black parts of it, so that's what you see. No, I don't have a mohawk. I mean, if I wish I could figure out. See, this is one thing I do need help on. I wish I could figure out how to blow up my YouTube channel, but I don't want to go the route of starting drama or doing bullshit. I'm not willing to sell my soul for money, bro. We're broke. Shows more cleavage. Just bog big Mike. Let's have Chicano Tube narrate it. He might take Big Mike's side because I'm not a Trumper. Nah, what it is, I shave, bro, and like most of my hair is gray, bro. And these black streaks is what's left of the blackness of my hair, bro. So that's why it kind of looks like a mohawk. I'm old, bro. I got fucking bifocals on. Look. Ya soy viejito. Un anciano, like my mom used to say. Yeah, but I'm about to tap out in a minute. Just wanted to come in and say what's up to everybody. You know, hopefully everybody's doing good out there, surviving in these Bay Area streets or Central Valley streets or LA or wherever you may be. You feel me? It ain't getting no easier. Somebody mentioned Aldi's earlier. I've heard of Aldi's. Who mentioned Aldi's? I've been to Aldi's, but I've been to Aldi's in the Midwest. Cheers, Brazier. We have something similar to Aldi's in California, but it's called Grocery Outlet. Orale. Nah, I'm not going bald. My brother's kind of going bald, but I'm not. I got my hair still. That's one thing I do have. I got my hair. This is all hair, bro. There's no baldness there. Oli's? I've been to Oli's. Let's go there one day, fool. I haven't been there in a minute. I used to go there all the time to Oli's. I haven't been there in a few years. Rite Aid? They closed Rite Aid by my house. There used to be a Rite Aid around here. Mix. You never ate at Oli's? It's pretty good. It's just basic hamburger, Americana type food. It's pretty cool. It's been there since like the 1930s or something like that. Foster's Freeze, there's one in Pinole. You can go to that one. There's one in Berkeley too on University. I actually ate Foster's Freeze about probably 2 months ago. Always packed. Is it? I can't remember. Yeah, they got a couple. There's not too many of them, but there is a few of them around here. There's one in Pinole, and there's one in Berkeley, and there's one in Napa, I know. I think there's one in San Leandro, too. We got a couple of A&W root beers, too. Not very many of them, but there's a couple of them. You know what I don't really see no more? But I've seen those more in Sacramento. But you guys remember a place called Arby's? They used to sell like the roast beef sandwiches. I don't really see those anymore. Who remembers Arby's? I don't know if they had those in the Bay. Yeah, they did. I think there was one in San Leandro one time. On East 14th, I think. Yeah, because I remember eating at the one in San Leandro a couple times. Man, they used to sell good curly fries. To move in excellence. Does anybody remember? I remember there's a vague memory. Keep everyone getting away from uniforms. Does anybody? I remember when I was a kid, there was a couple of restaurants called Long John Silver's. I don't know if you guys remember those. But I remember there was another fish place. I can't remember if they were in the Bay, but I know they had them in Sac. And they were called Skippers. You guys remember those? Tell me in the comments if anybody remembers those. They were called Skippers. Kind of like a Long John Silver type of place. Yeah, they don't really have those out here no more, Joe Mama. They used to have one not far from where I live, and they closed it, a Long John Silver. They used to have one in Pinole, too. Not in the Bay. Skippers. Yeah, I can't remember if I ever seen one in the Bay, but I remember in Sac they had them. They were kind of like a Long John Silver, very similar. Kind of similar type of food, like fried fish and stuff like that. I was just wondering if anybody remembered them. KFC Taco Bell. They had a KFC Long John Silver's here, too. They do have in Richmond a KFC A&W root beer. Oh, yeah, JJ's. They got one in Richmond, and they got that one in the Deep. JJ, those are always in the hood. Yeah, all in one. I do remember seeing in San Francisco, I seen a KFC Taco Bell. I remember. I think they never had one around here about where I live. At least not that I remember. Alright, so I've been on for an hour and a half. Fuck, I got a long live tonight. I'm about to tap out. You know, Fraser, believe it or not, KFC in Mexico hits differently. I ain't gonna lie. KFC in Mexico is hella good. But anyway, I'm gonna tap out, you guys. You guys be safe, everybody. Be safe out there. Keep warm. It's probably gonna get colder as time comes by. We are going into winter. But yeah, Richie, Fraser, Shortcuts, Julio, Joe Mama, Chipmunk, Bud Rios, Chris Grima, and everybody else that was on tonight. Raider Rich, the Gooch. You guys be safe. All right. All right, man. I'll talk to you guys later. Later.